Hey everyone, are you ready to flip the script on digital dating? Welcome back to another episode of Digital Dilemmas Unplugged, where we tackle the tough stuff with a twist of fun. I'm your host, JusNik, bringing the heat with the fabulous Victoria Jenn Rodriguez today as we dive in deep into what it means to be a fierce, independent woman in the wild world of digital dating. Victoria Jenn is here to switch up your mindset and empower you to take control. We're talking about conquering digital dating with sass, securing your independence, and defining success on your own fabulous terms. Grab your favorite snack, settle in, and get ready to laugh, learn, and maybe even shout amen, because we are about to get real about dating, independence, and smashing those societal expectations. Let's turn those dilemmas into dynamite solutions. You in? Let's light this up. All right, I'm super excited about today's episode, empowering women in the digital dating world. And with me today, mindset business coach, Victoria Jenn Rodriguez. How are you? And thank you for coming.
I'm fabulous, darling. Thank you for having me.
First of all, I love this ad. It's just giving business women. But it
Like it's, I had to make sure I put in some style because your glasses, all by your fly.
Thank you.
Had to match the fly.
So let's let everybody know what you do.
Sure. So I'm a master mindset and business coach. So I help women who are a corporate or the 9-to-5 grind transition to entrepreneurship without losing their financial security. So it's all about making sure that you build out that additional stream of income while you still got that 9-to-5 income coming in. Let's build it so that you can plan for your exit and have no worries.
I love that. So how was your journey? When did you decide that you wanted to break off into entrepreneurship?
So it's about 7 years ago, my last corporate gig decided to, first they wanted to relocate me to Tampa. And I know we're just meeting for the first time, but I'm more of a new girl. But like, Tampa, no can do, sorry, I'm going to gracefully bow out. So I decided to go look for another corporate gig. I was in corporate already 15 years and I wasn't able to close a deal. I was going on massive interviews, wasn't able to lock anything in. And I was like, all right, God, I see you. I see what you're trying to tell me here. So I decided to bet on myself, and 7 years later, haven't looked back.
I love that. So in this new digital world of dating, when we try to just blend the person and then the type of relationships you want to be in, I want to start off with this. In your view, how can women navigate the digital dating world with a sense of empowerment and independence?
So I think it starts with self-awareness. And I know that word gets thrown around and people really talk a lot about self-care and we're in our soft girl era and all the things, but nobody's really doing the work that is required in order for you to actually really tap into that peace and tap into that sense of self and be comfortable in your own skin, right? Because once we're able to enter into any space, whether it's dating, the boardroom, business, whatever it is, if we are not aligned within and we're not feeling balanced and confident with who we are because we did the work to figure out why we are and what are our values, what do we care about, then it's difficult to actually date because you're gone with the wind fabulous. You're somebody that you don't truly know. So it's difficult for you to show up as your most authentic self.
Absolutely. You have some of these situations where you see on social media, people are very vocal about the situationships that they've been in, and you have some girls who's like, I got stranded on my date, and I got flued out, and he left me across country, and they know I'm nowhere to get back. So, what would you say to that person who obviously didn't do their homework financially?
I would say make sure your round trip is booked. Before you head out and go out on a flight, make sure you have all the information you need, right? Make sure you do that due diligence in advance. If he says, oh, I got you, just get here. No, boo. I need the itinerary before I leave. But I think most importantly is making sure that you're able to secure yourself. So if something happens, maybe you don't like homeboy and you want to leave, like you have that opportunity and leisure to book your own flight. You don't need anybody else in order to maneuver and make moves. I think that's super important for you to have that type of independence and control in those situations so that you hold on to that leverage and you make sure you're not putting yourself in a situation that you're going to regret later.
Absolutely. So we had a guest come on not that long ago, Coach Lee, and she was very adamant about pushing her philosophy about, if a man makes $50,000 and under, then he shouldn't be dating. And that if a woman was accepting and her standards were low, Do you agree with that?
I think that this is why self-awareness is so important, because you need to figure out what is it that you truly value. And in some cases, that might not be 100 grand, 200 grand, $1 million making man. It might be someone who has the time to actually cater to you and pay attention to you and give you the TLC that you need while you're building your own empire. So really figuring out what's important to you and what makes you happy is key, versus going off of what you see on social media or what you perceive to be happiness for other people, because that may not align with what truly makes you happy. Like, let's step away, let's take off the mask, let's stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. If happiness is what you truly desire and you want to be at peace and you want true love, you need to define what that means for you.
I love that, which leads me to my next question. How can women focus on building their own lasting legacy, especially when society often emphasizes the importance of finding a partner?
Well, you need to get comfortable with finding yourself first, again, bringing it back there. But most importantly, before you think about legacy, before you think about building anything, you need to first identify what is driving you in this world and what really matters to you. I mean, there's tons of gurus out there telling you what you should, what you shouldn't do. You need to understand that you need to trust yourself first. You need to listen to your voice, because all the answers literally lie within you. You don't need advice from anybody. You don't need to go read a self-help book. You don't need to watch tons of YouTube. You need to get silent and ask yourself the same questions you're asking of others and start seeking the answers within, because they exist. They're there. Just let her out. Let that badass out that already exists within you.
Absolutely. And, there's a lot of women out there who look to social media to see the type of relationships that, they should be in. And obviously they don't have the self-awareness, and they're just letting the world pretty much
dictate how they move.
Got it.
Yeah.
But for the woman who's like, I want to have a successful man in my life. I'm not there yet, but I deserve to have that too. What would you say is her first steps as far as looking for that?
Make your list. What is on your dream list? Like, put it on paper. I did this exercise about 2 years ago because I too, just like many of us, were comparing myself, like, oh, they look so in love. They have this going on. They look so happy. Why don't I have that? And I said, you know what, V? Let's start putting in the work and let's write down what is it that you want and start asking. And I started asking myself those difficult questions like, do I really want a man who makes $1 million? Well, what does that come with, right? Because there are things that come with that paycheck, right? And sacrifices that are made, right? Men who make a lot of money are busy. They're not going to be able to spend time with you, boo-boo, right? So do you want that type of lifestyle? And if you do, cool, just be prepared to come with, and basically be prepared to adjust your life to his, because if you're dependent on him leading the way, then you are going to have to follow how he is leading you, right? But that list is super important because it will serve as your guide. So as you're on these digital dating apps, as you're on the scene, you can go back to your list and be like, okay, does this person possess X, Y, and Z? And also know your non-negotiables. Like if 1 through 20 on your list are your non-negotiables, you have to stick to your guns and you have to make sure that you create that boundary. Like, you know what, boo-boo, I appreciate you. You're real cool, but you're not for me. Gotta go. And be okay with that.
Yeah. How important is it for that person to possess the qualities themselves when they're looking for certain things? When you come up with a list, a lot of times that list can get quite extensive because it's like, well, you got this, and that. And then you look at their life and it's like, well, how much do you have of that list? And it may not be that much.
Yeah, I had to ask myself that difficult question and really challenge myself to be who I wanted to see and also become the type of man I wanted for myself. So, for example, I wanted someone who cared about their health. I wanted somebody who was working out, who ate well. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, okay, V, well, honey, you got to make some changes, right? And so I went on this health journey. I've lost about 35 pounds. So now, thank you. So now when I'm on the dating scene, I can confidently be like, yeah, I want a man who's health conscious because I'm health conscious and I'm vegan now. So you're going to have to be okay with that. We're going to have to go on this journey together or at least support me, right? So it's those things where you are setting the tone because you have already done the work to understand what it is that you want and how you want to show up in the world. And once you put out that energy, naturally it will come to you.
Absolutely. I thoroughly believe in that. So are you married? What's your...
I'm not married. I'm single.
Now, are you looking to date?
Of course. Yes. I'm actively dating. Yes.
Okay. So are you into the digital world of dating online, or do you prefer the traditional, I'm out and I meet someone and there's just a connection, chemistry? Like, do you find it's hard for you to meet the person that matches or in alignment with you?
I go to where men are. So I know that digital landscape, given the world that we live in, men are online. So I'm there. I also know the type of quality of man that I want, right? I want a man who likes to golf. So I'm going to go hang out at the golf club, right? I want a man who cares about mindset and emotional wellness. Perhaps I'm going on a retreat and I meet a fella there. I think what's important is the labeling of what's traditional, what's not traditional. Find out what's comfortable for you. But most importantly, know that your boo ain't going to knock on your door. I mean, it could happen. I mean, he might be dropping off your mail. He might be delivering your Amazon and you catch him on the quick. But you need to be out there in order to be seen, right? And in order to be caught. And it's the same thing I advise my clients in business. You can't expect opportunity to knock on your door if you're not positioning yourself for that opportunity. Like, you have to go outside.
Yes. Would you do an online dating app?
Yes. I was on all the apps.
Did you find any success? Like, did you actually meet someone that you connected with? You went on a couple of dates? Like, what was that experience?
Throughout my journey, I've met plenty of dope men, and they exist. They are out there, even though they're hard to find, but they do exist. And I think one of the fun parts of dating is not only getting to know yourself, but also meeting incredible people that then become a part of your network, but understanding like everyone isn't for you. And that's great. Like, you're out, if your goal is to find your partner, your soulmate, and that is what you are looking for, then you're going to have to kiss a couple of frogs to get to your prince. Like, that's just the way it is, right? And so as long as you just accept that that comes with the journey and the routine, and try not to get frustrated with the process, because it can be exhausting. And I know that. And it can also be intimidating. It can feel like, you know what, get somebody else to do it. I'd rather sit home and Netflix and chill. Honey, I did that. That's how I gained my 35 pounds. So please go outside. Put on your go get 'em dress. You know, feel good about you, right? Because once you get into that cocoon, it's hard to break out.
But it teaches you more so of what you like and what you don't like, because every different relationship you experience something. You're like, oh, I didn't know that I like this, or I didn't know that I really don't like that. So whenever you're not finding the right person, don't let that deter you. It's just helping you build that checklist to be more specific and precise. So one of my guests that I had on here, I was saying, well, if there's something you could change about online dating and the apps, what would you change? And she was like, I think they should all have like something similar to a Carfax, but like a guy fax, so that anybody who's dated that person before could like say, oh, you know, he did this, or, you know, he treats his mother horrible and things like that. What would you add, or what would you say is missing, that if you knew that the dating app had this, you would be able to find your person?
So I think some of that exists. I know there's some Facebook groups out there where women have created, right? And they talk about men that they dated. But listen, people change, and you have to give people the space to grow and evolve, just like you're growing and evolving. Like, we got to give men some slack, because they have a lot of pressure on their shoulders. They're trying to figure out their space in this new phenomenon. Like, women are approaching love very differently than they did how they were raised by their mothers and their aunts and everyone. So everyone's adjusting to this modern way of dating. So we have to give each other grace. One thing I would change about the dating apps is that I would, let's see. I think that it's important for people to just not ghost. So if you're having a conversation with someone for a week and then they like disappear, I wish there was something in the app. Maybe it's like, I don't know, you're pinged or you're charged something if you don't respond. At least letting someone know like, hey, I'm no longer interested, or I met somebody, or whatever the case may be, because we're wasting time, boo. Like, why are we here? Right? At least let each other know. And I think that's just out of respect and common courtesy. So I would change that.
Stop ghosting, guys. Girls do it too. Just be honest. All right, so many women struggle with imposter syndrome, especially in professional settings. How do you think this affects their approach to dating, and what advice do you have for overcoming it?
So imposter syndrome is one of my favorite things to talk about because over 70% of professionals experience imposter syndrome. And for women and women of color, that number triples, right? And men experience it as well. But it's kind of like this evil thing that people have created this negative connotation around imposter syndrome, when in fact, imposter syndrome is an indication that you are coloring outside the lines, you're expanding yourself, you're putting yourself in new environments, and that's why you feel like you're an imposter, because you've never been there before. But if you look at people like Oprah, Tony Robbins, J-Lo, they have all admitted to experiencing imposter syndrome recently, and all of them at the top of their game. So if you look at them as an examples, it should be an indication that you want to experience imposter syndrome, because that means that you're doing something with yourself, right? You're not content. You want more for yourself. So that's first. I want people to understand that it is actually a gift to experience imposter syndrome, because it means that you are growing, and that's how we evolve. I always like to compare it like when you go to the gym and you know you're about to do leg day and you're like dreading it. You're like, oh my God, I do not want to do it. Even during the actual exercising, you're hating your life, right? Next day, you're sore as hell. But then you pass that mirror and you see that little bump up. You're like, ooh, okay, right? But in order for you to experience the bump up, you had to be uncomfortable. So same thing with imposter syndrome. There's a couple of strategies that I have in order for you to mitigate imposter syndrome, because it's not inevitable. If you're human, you're going to experience moments of self-doubt. You're going to experience moments where you don't feel like yourself 1000%. And the first step is the self-awareness. Just like with anything, you got to know when the imposter syndrome is coming up so that you're able to prepare in advance. The second is called a badassery committee. So I think everybody needs a badassery committee in their life, especially women. And this committee is made up of 5 to 7 people who know who you are, understand your magic, your accolades, everything that you bring to this world, so that they can remind you of your badassery when imposter syndrome intrudes your space, right? So they got to be on call. This is a very prestigious role, all right? They got to be on call so that you can hit them and be like, look, I'm about to go on this date. I'm not really feeling myself. Like, I need the pep talk. Or I'm about to go into this meeting. I don't know how I'm going to ask for $100,000 right now. So give me the pep talk, right? So you need those people in your life. And if you don't have anyone in your life that you can tap on, join communities, right? Join communities of people that have the same dreams and aspirations as you and want to see the best for you, right? And then next is mirror self-talk. So this is about you talking to yourself in the mirror, right? It's about you looking at yourself one-to-one every day. Can I share a quick homework assignment for everybody? So this is a homework assignment for anyone who's in a funk, you're not feeling like yourself, or if you just want to shift your mindset and behavior. For 15 days straight, consecutively, every morning and before you go to sleep, I want you to recite 15 affirmations. And they need to be affirmations that are aligned to whatever you're trying to achieve, whatever the goal is, or whatever belief you are trying to instill in yourself. So if you're trying to instill, I am deserving of abundance, I'm deserving of love, I'm deserving of compassion, right? All the things that you're aspiring to, whatever it is, Google aspirations for what it is so that you can get your 15. Say it every day for 15 days consecutively, and I guarantee you will start to see a shift in your mindset and behavior. And then the last is celebrate your wins, regardless how small they are. Listen, you made your bed this morning. That is a win, okay? That is a win, all right? You made it to work on time. That is a win, right? You just secured a contract for $2,000. That is a win. $100,000. That is a win. You just had an amazing date, or you just told someone, hey, you're not for me, and you never did that before. That's a win, right? Celebrate the wins, regardless of how small or large you think they are, because the gift and the curse, and I think this is your audience, right? They're ambitious, right? They want more for themselves. They see themselves as greater than. The gift and the curse of the ambitious is we're never satisfied. Like, we're always want more. We reach one goal, we want more. We want more. So the way to combat that is to celebrate your wins, regardless of the size and impact that you think it might have. Because guess what? somebody else in this world wishes they accomplished that win, right? Even making their bed. Somebody might not have arms to make their bed, right? So celebrate all the wins.
Personally, because I do an affirmation on my show daily, so people are known. That's like one of their favorite segments of mine. Secondly, I actually, just started celebrating my wins because I am a goal setter, like continuously, and I know I'm gonna do it till I'm in my brain. But I had problems celebrating the wins. Like I was moving so quickly, I wasn't being present. So like this year, moving forward, I'm just trying to practice on like just being fully present and then celebrating the wins at the same time. Because, you reach one and it's like, all right, I got it done. What's the next one? I'm ready to go get somewhere else. And then before you know it, you're like, I didn't really take any time to like just stop and say, I did that. So that's a great reminder. And I love that
you did that, sis.
That you did that. We be waiting to other people to give us those compliments.
Yeah.
And it may never come. So you have to be able to do it for yourself.
Yeah, got to be your own cheerleader, always.
So what strategies can women employ to unlock their full potential and achieve their goals, both in the dating world and beyond, with confidence and authenticity?
So understanding what your goals are is key, right? And not taking on someone else's goals for yourself, but understanding what the goals are.
Someone else's goals for yourself.
Yes.
Elaborate.
Well, a lot of us perceive success through others' eyes, right? Or our values through others' eyes. So we see someone and it attracts us because it's a Lamborghini, or it attracts us because it's a fly pair of shoes, a new bag. And so we're like, oh, yeah, I want that. But not understanding what's the backstory, how much they pay for that Lamborghini, what's the maintenance, how often is that Lamborghini in the shop because there's potholes in their neighborhood. Like, you have to be mindful of comparing yourself and yearning to be like somebody else because you don't understand the story behind that, right? Right. Let me tell you something. Unless it's the truck, Lamborghini's uncomfortable. Like, they're uncomfortable. Listen, I learned that the hard way. Almost bust my ass getting in and out of a Lambo. It is not fun, okay? So you sure you want a Lambo? Because, listen, it is not a good time to get in and out of that thing. You got to skirt on this. It's just not fun. So, it's those things, like understanding, like, what are your goals for you and defining success on your terms and feeling really good about it. Like, if you don't have the same goals as someone else, good. You're not supposed to. You're unique, right? And that comes down to authenticity, really understanding, who you are, why you are, what do you care about, why do you care about these things, and also getting real with yourself. A lot of folks are lying to themselves. They're lying to themselves because it's easier. It's easier to live in the clouds. It's easier to pretend. It's easier to think that you're somebody that you're not, right? And that's why that mirror talk is really important, because we have to get real with ourselves. And if we are not operating in our truth, we have to call ourselves out about it and have your badassery committee to call you out as well. But that's really, really important. So identifying your goals, making sure that you're being real with yourself and challenging yourself to show up as your most unedited self in all situations. And the only way you really get comfortable with that is with practice. So put yourself in more uncomfortable situations because it will allow you to become an expert in those type of environments and approach them with ease and less anxiety and stress.
I love it. I love it all. Finally, before we let you go, what empowering message would you like to share with women who are navigating the complexities of dating, relationships, and personal growth in today's digital era?
I would like to leave women with the message of, you're enough. You're enough, mama. Like, you are enough, and you have everything within you that you need in order to fulfill your desires, make your dreams come true. The only secret that actually makes this a reality for people versus those who just constantly live in the unknown, meaning just living in a space where you're kind of like, I don't know if I go left, I don't know if I go right, I don't know what to do. The secret is just taking action. Whatever you take action on consistently will naturally progress. So if that's starting a business, double down on those dreams and aspirations, making sure you're taking action towards that every day. If it's towards finding the man of your dreams, making sure that you're taking action on every day, right? Maybe it's you working on you first, or maybe it is you getting on the dating apps. Maybe it is you going to a bar and sitting by yourself and having a drink, right? Taking the action, right? If it's you being a better friend, make sure you're shooting that text. Say, hey, I'm just thinking about you. How are you? Right? Make sure you're taking action, because action leads to progress, which leads to your dreams actually being realized.
I love it. Listen, I appreciate you so much for coming through and sharing your gems. People are probably watching like, yo, I want to connect with her. Does she have any conferences or anything coming up? What can you share with?
Yeah, so I'm on all social media platforms. You can find me at IAM Victoria Jenn, JENN. If you're on LinkedIn, I'm over there as well. You can look me up as Victoria Jenn Rodriguez. I also launched a podcast last year called Banking on Cultura, which focuses on the vibrancy and complexity of Latino culture, entrepreneurship, y all the wanchinche, aka gossip in between. So if you're looking for tips on how to start, launch, grow a business, and also get your mindset right, definitely encourage you to check us out. We're on YouTube and all the audio streaming platforms. And then everything else, Victoria Jenn, you can find out at victoriajenn.com.
Awesome. And you have something coming up in November.
I do. So I have a Secure the Big Bag and Wellness Summit. I do this every year. And this conference is all about making sure that you have the strategies, like tangible strategies, so that you can secure the big bag, right? Like, how do you actually do that? We're talking about how to become an investor in cannabis, how to become an investor in real estate, how to make sure that if you want to invest with your boo, how do you even handle that? How do you have money conversations with your boo? And then also, how do you actually center your peace? Like, what does that even mean? Like, how do I show up centering my peace, right? So we'll be covering all that, and you can find out more information about the conference at victoriajenn.com. Happening November 2024.
Victoria, thank you so much.
Thank you
for watching. Wow, what a ride. Thanks for hanging out with us on Digital Dilemmas Unplugged. A huge shout out to the powerhouse that is Victoria Jenn Rodriguez for not just surviving the digital dating scene, but absolutely owning it. We've laughed, we've nodded in agreement, and we're walking away armed with killer advice on how to keep our independence front and center while navigating the dating world. If today's chat sparked a fire in you in any way, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, share this episode far and wide, and drop us a line. We love hearing from you. Keep this empowerment train rolling by tuning in next time for more unfiltered advice and unstoppable laughter. Until then, keep your standards high and your swipe savvy. Remember, you are royalty in your digital castle. Keep slaying, stay bold, and transform those digital dilemmas into your personal power playbook. This is JusNik signing off. Stay fierce, find joy, and stay plugged in.